company is the purpose is to make money. That's it. But since you do the shoes, if you are doing the social business, you'll be asking yourself, how many people in the world go without shoes? You figure it out, how many. So once you have done that, so you're a very successful shoe company, so you can take it as a mission for yourself, creating a social business, to make sure those people have shoes. Make shoes affordable for them. And start from the very bottom. And they said, how do we do that? What is needed to be done? We know how to make shoes, but what is that we have to do? I said, well, Adidas shoes are expensive shoes, so they cannot afford it. So now you have to make shoes which will be affordable to the people who go without shoes. And then naturally the next question is, what will make it affordable? What price? I had no idea. I said, okay, maybe it should be under $1. What? Adidas shoe at $1? $1? I said, yes, if you want to reach out to those people, that's the price range they can afford. And that's the way it worked. I said, it's up to you whether you can do that. You can have a $5 shoes, but you'll be missing the people who cannot afford those shoes. I said, okay, I'll discuss with my colleagues and let you know while we give you a guided tour of the Adidas. It's a huge complex. They have like museums and all kinds of stuff. So while I was taken out to big tour of the facilities at the museums, he convened all the heads of the departments together to discuss whether they can produce shoes which will be $1 price at the price point, at the sales price, covering everything in the process. Because I was saying that make sure it will not be charity shoe. You are a big company, you can free distribute. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a business. It's a social business. It's a business. You have to cover the cost, all cost. No subsidy. So there's a tough thing. So they spent almost half a day discussing whether it's possible or not possible. Many debates and so on. So when I came back, we had lunch, we had other discussions, and they're still there in session discussing. So then when they finished that discussion, they came back and said, yes, we have to talk to you now. So they asked several more questions, went back, came back with the answer that yes, we can do that. I said, that's very good. So we discussed where should it be done, how will be the market, and I said, well, I'm familiar with Bangladesh, you can do it in Bangladesh, you can do it anywhere in the world, because you're a global company. So they chose Bangladesh, they will want to do it in Bangladesh. They sent their people to Bangladesh, all the research team, design teams, and so on, what kind of shoes people will like. Those who always go barefoot, for the first time they'll be wearing shoes, what kind of shoes they would like. So they went to villages, talked to the women, talked to the men, talked to children, what kind of shoes they want. Everybody has their own idea what shoes would be, how comfortable, how easy, flood, and all those things, how to make them sure that it doesn't disintegrate in the flood. After that, they went back and made designs and produced the samples, sent me the samples. I said, it looks good, if people like it, you already discussed, it's fine. So they took it in and wanted to do it in Bangladesh. They found out that Bangladesh doesn't have a facility to produce it. So they got first stopped. And then they said, okay, we have big facility in India, we can do it in India. I said, yeah, go ahead. So they went into India and produced those shoes. And they're very excited. In the meantime, it became famous, it's $1 shoes. This is before it's been produced. So they tried to they wanted to import it to Bangladesh, but then they stopped because Bangladesh has a very high tariff on shoes, 300%. Because Bangladesh produces enough shoes, so they don't want anybody to bring fancy shoes at expensive prices. If they do, they have to pay a good amount of money as duties. But they didn't realize that people can also import $1 shoes. So $1 shoes immediately has $3 on the duty. That doesn't sound right. So they couldn't bring it. I said, we can bring it and we can keep the tariff on us. I said, no, you have to pass on all the cost to the consumer. You cannot give any charity, any subsidy. So they couldn't do that. So what do? They said, okay, we can try to sell it in India because you already produce it. India is a big market, let's do that. So they sold it in India after a long period of time, but they had a big question in their mind. Because one of the things they were trying to do, reluctant to do, because there are lots of footwear, I wouldn't say shoes, sandals and things like that, flip-flops, all kinds of things, which is under $1 in all over India. And these are locally produced, local small people producing it. They said we have the tough time doing it because we feel guilty that we are taking away their market, we are taking away their job, and we are a big company, we are fighting with this. So we don't want to do that. I said, okay. That's a good, reasonable answer because you shouldn't disrupt their livelihood. So ever since they stopped producing those $1 shoes in India, what do they do next? So they said, we can go try other countries. So they have been trying to find other countries what they can do. Last I heard that they're trying to do it in Brazil. So I don't know what happened to the Brazil in the meantime. CEO who made all those commitments, he left. So $1 shoe probably stopped there. It's in the kind of a cold storage right now. But this was the initiative. But the idea that the reason that I'm talking about the $1 shoe, suddenly I see in the newspaper they are selling shoes which is $300 shoes. This is made of plastic, ocean plastic. The whole ocean is getting filled up with the waste plastic. And I was very charmed that Adidas paid attention. These shoes made of ocean plastic. And I'm sure lots of people will buy that to support that idea. And in the meantime, we're very interested in the ocean plastic because ocean is gathering miles and miles of ocean is filled up with plastic. A whole new ocean is being created filled with plastic. And the plastic that floats on the top that you can see from the sky when you're flying over it, this is only a fraction of the total plastic the ocean has because underneath there are at least 10 to 20 times more plastic at the bottom of the sea. So soon sea will be totally blocked with the plastic because every day we are adding new plastic. 8 million tons of plastic goes into the ocean every year. And this is the current, it keeps growing, ocean plastic. And the main culprit of the old plastic that goes into the ocean is the single-use plastic. We buy things from the market, clothes or groceries, food items, bring home, tear it apart, throw the plastic out, use our own thing. What happens to those plastic is not our headache, but it's the headache of the whole world because the world is getting unlivable because of the plastic. So we have been worrying about this plastic, as a social business, how we have done, because this is a global problem. So if social business has any meaning, we have to address that because social business is supposedly non-dividend company to solve human problems. This is not only human problems, it's a planetary problems, global problems. So we are studying this, how to start it. After that, we decided, why don't we start a social business in a small way first, so that we demonstrate that it can be done. Recycle the plastic. If you want to recycle the plastic, then plastic comes back into the system. So we chose, after lots of discussion, we chose Mekong River in Vietnam, because Mekong River is almost filled up with plastic. It's not the ocean only, the canals and the rivers all around the world is getting clogged up with plastic, and Mekong River is one of them. So we thought, why don't we try that? Clean up the Mekong River, get the plastic out by recycling them. So we are setting up a social business there in the process of it. What do? As a business, we buy the plastic, waste plastic, declare a price so that people go and start picking them up, sell it to us, and we transform into long-lasting plastic. Because plastic is not biodegradable, so we cannot change its character. So we are trying to negotiate with the laboratories, chemical companies to make biodegradable plastic so that we don't have to worry about it anymore. It's biodegradable. It's not there yet. So in the meantime, what we can do, make the single-use plastic into long-lasting plastic. So one of the things that we are designing is to make furnitures, long-lasting doors, things, housing materials, so that you can solve the problem of housing with plastic. But the plastic is something, it's not very convenient for all housing. So we got into another issue. It's about the that led us to another issue. Is the car tires. You have car tires, you throw it away when you change the tires. You don't know where it goes. Millions of tires every year, just thrown away, and no use of it. So they are clogging up other kind of rivers, canals, wherever they can find. It's a landfill and so on. I was told that only 7% of the entire throwaway tires is reused. Reused for garden, for decorations and things, fancy things that people do. That's only used. It only covers 7% of the total, which is still 93% goes out. So how to reverse that? It shouldn't be clogging up places and everything. And tire is also very important because it's made of rubber. Rubber is a natural thing. It's not plastic. It's not a chemically designed thing. It's a natural product. So if you can recover that, you can have a use for that. So we started analyzing the content of the tires. We say three things in the tire. One is the rubber, plenty of rubber inside, the whole total body of it. And lots of metals, the thread that goes into it. So, and then phosphate, the three elements. That's why tire burns very well. When you have a demonstration, you start burning a tire because of the phosphate inside it. And you can make oil out of it by taking that out. So these are the three elements, how to kind of disintegrate them, separate them out. Once we separate them out, then we use natural rubber. One of the things, recycled plastic, paste it onto rubbers, can become good roofing material. So that you protect yourself both in, because plastic is easily get hot, but if you put the rubber on the top, then it'll be a little bit better in the inside. In Bangladesh, we use corrugated iron sheet. It's nothing but metal. And hot, in the summer days, it gets very hot. It's almost like an oven inside. But that's the durable material they can find. So plastic could be a substitute for that, or plastic laminated with the rubber could be another thing. So these are the things that we are trying to find out. These are initial thoughts, but if you get into it, many ideas will come. The ideas is the core of social business. How to bring your ideas to address an issue. So recycling is a major issue. Waste, amount of waste we produce every day. Food waste to agricultural waste, industrial waste, you name it. I just gave two examples. One is plastic, another is rubber. So this is the danger part of it, and social business can address, at least try to address it in a way, business way, so that it's not something do-gooder job. I spend so much money, clean up this thing, and next day it's filled up again. So there's a continuous process. People can do that continuously and make things happen that way. So these are the two examples of what we do as a social business. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Doctor.